This is the same coastline, 30 years apart. One is a fishing town at the edge of a desert, where men dove for pearls and returned, if they were lucky, with enough to feed a family for a season. The other is one of the most photographed shorelines on Earth, an artificial archipelago visible from space, built grain by grain from dredged sand. Between these two images lies one of the boldest and most contested transformations of a coastline in modern history. This is the story of how Dubai remade its beaches, not just for tourism, but as a statement that geography itself could be negotiated. We'll look at the engineering that made it possible, the money and ambition behind it, the workers whose hands actually built it, the reefs and currents it disrupted, and the question hanging over all of it now: what happens when the sea that was pushed back starts pushing forward again? Before the sand was moved. Long before hotels and man-made islands, Dubai's relationship with its coast was practical, not aspirational. The Gulf here is shallow and warm, good for pearl oysters, difficult for large ships. For generations, the economy of this coastline was built on pearl diving, dangerous, seasonal work that shaped the rhythm of life along the creek. Local historian or elder describing pre-oil coastal life, pearling seasons, and how the sea was viewed as a livelihood rather than a landscape to be marketed. Then, in the 1920s, the global pearl trade collapsed almost overnight, undone by the invention of cultured pearls in Japan. The coastline that had sustained Dubai for centuries suddenly offered far less. It would take the discovery of oil, decades later, to hand this stretch of sand a second purpose entirely. Oil money and a new ambition. Oil was discovered in Dubai in 1966, modest compared to neighboring Abu Dhabi, but enough to fund an aggressive bet that Dubai should not depend on oil at all. Leadership poured revenue into infrastructure, aviation, trade, and eventually tourism, looking for what would outlast the wells. The coastline, once just a place to launch boats from, became an asset to be designed. Urban planning academic on Dubai's economic diversification strategy and why beachfront tourism became a pillar of its mix. By the 1990s, Dubai had a functioning tourism industry, but a limited amount of natural coastline to sell it with. Roughly 70 kilometers of shore, much of it flat, narrow, and already claimed by shipping and industry. If Dubai wanted to become the beach capital of the region, it would need more beach than nature had given it. The idea that changed everything. The solution, proposed in the late 1990s, was almost absurd in its simplicity. If there wasn't enough coastline, build more of it. Not by clearing land, but by creating it out of dredged sand, shaped into islands, extending the city's shoreline by hundreds of kilometers. It was a proposal that required rewriting what a coastline could be, and it set the stage for what remains the most ambitious land reclamation project ever attempted for tourism. The Reclamation Era. Building Palm Jumeirah. Construction began in 2001. The engineering firm behind it used massive dredging ships to vacuum sand from the seabed of the Gulf and then spray it into place through a technique called rainbowing, arcing sand through the air to build up the shape of a trunk, a crown of fronds, and an encircling crescent breakwater. No steel frame, no concrete foundation holding it up from below. The island is, essentially, a very precisely shaped sandbar, stabilized by compacting the material and armoring the edges with rock. Coastal engineer explaining reclamation methods: dredging, rainbowing, compaction, breakwater design. The numbers involved are difficult to grasp. Roughly 94 million cubic meters of sand were used to build Palm Jumeirah alone, enough by some estimates to fill a line of trucks that could circle the globe. The crescent breakwater required millions of tons of rock, much of it placed by hand-guided divers to protect the vulnerable inner lagoon from wave energy. By 2006, the first residents moved in. Within a few years, the palm had become shorthand for Dubai itself, an image used on postcards, in films, in the branding of an entire city. The world and what followed. Encouraged by the success, commercial and symbolic, of Palm Jumeirah, developers proposed something even more ambitious, an archipelago of roughly 300 islands shaped to resemble a world map, sold individually to private buyers and investors. Journalist or business analyst on the financing, marketing, and eventual stalling of the World project after the 2008 financial crisis. The World was never fully completed. The 2008 financial crisis froze investment mid-project, and many of the islands remain undeveloped today, some slowly eroding back towards the sea without the maintenance dredging that keeps reclaimed land in shape. It's a useful reminder that these landscapes aren't permanent by nature. They require constant, expensive upkeep to remain land at all. Why build this way at all? It's worth pausing to ask why any of this made sense. Reclaimed islands are enormously expensive, environmentally disruptive, and vulnerable to erosion. The answer has much more to do with branding. Tourism economist or brand strategist on how artificial islands functioned as global marketing, generating headlines and image recognition long before completion. Palm Jumeirah was never just real estate. It was a statement, visible from space, that Dubai could do what other cities considered impossible. That image did more to put Dubai on the global tourist map than any advertising budget could. The coastline became, in effect, the city's logo. Who actually built the coast? The workforce behind the postcard. Every grain of sand that became Palm Jumeirah was moved, shaped, and compacted by human labor, most of it performed by migrant workers from South Asia brought to the UAE on contracts that promised income far higher than what was available at home. Labor rights researcher or journalist on migrant worker conditions in UAE construction, recruitment fees, the kafala sponsorship system, wages and living conditions during the reclamation boom. Reporting from this period and from labor rights organizations has documented a difficult pattern: workers who paid steep recruitment fees before ever arriving, wages that were sometimes delayed or reduced from what was promised, and living conditions in labor camps that stood in stark contrast to the luxury they were building. This isn't a footnote to the story of Dubai's beaches, it's the foundation of it. Reform and its limits. In the years since, the UAE has introduced reforms, a wage protection system, changes to the sponsorship structure, and rules aimed at recruitment fee abuse. Labor conditions in 2026 are not the same as they were in 2003, when Palm Jumeirah's foundations were first being laid. Labor rights researcher assessing what has changed and what advocacy groups say still needs attention. But rights organizations continue to raise concerns about enforcement gaps, about workers in older contracts who never saw the benefit of newer protections, and about the sheer scale of a construction industry that still depends heavily on low-wage migrant labor. Whose beach is it? There's a quiet irony at the heart of this story. The people who physically built Dubai's beaches largely don't live near them, don't holiday on them, and in many cases have never set foot on the sand they helped create. The coastline exists in large part for people who will only ever see it as guests. The beach today: culture and access. Public sand, private sand. Not all of Dubai's coastline works the same way. Public beaches like Jumeirah Open Beach and Kite Beach are free, genuinely popular with residents, and used by a wide cross-section of the city's population: laborers on a day off, families, joggers at sunset. Local resident or community voice describing what public beach access means day to day. But much of the most photographed coastline, the Palms Crescent, stretches in front of five-star resorts, is effectively private. Beach clubs charge daily entry fees that can run into hundreds of dirhams, a price that puts them out of reach for the very workforce that built them. Tourism as the main product. For millions of annual visitors, Dubai's beaches are the product being sold, packaged with skyline views, luxury branding, and a sense of engineered perfection that natural coastlines rarely offer. Tourism board representative or hospitality industry figure on how beach tourism fits into Dubai's broader economic strategy. It's a business model that has worked. Tourism now accounts for a significant share of Dubai's economy, and beach-adjacent hospitality, hotels, resorts, restaurants, is a major piece of that. The coastline isn't incidental to Dubai's growth, it's one of its primary